It's hard to make anything scary on a 2-inch screen, but you can make them pretty darn entertaining. I am the Game Collector, and this is Second Opinion Games, and today I'm gonna show you spooky Game Boy Advance games. Ooh, spooky.
Second Opinion Games.
So let's get all the obvious games out of the way that everyone else would always bring up, like Castlevania. Of course, that's a spooky Halloween-themed game with vampires and all, and zombies to take down, and all of them are pretty good. One of them was just an NES remake. Circle of the Moon was probably my least favorite of the other three Metroidvania games. Aria of Sorrow is really good. Harmony of Dissonance is great. Castlevania is a no-brainer for anyone who wants a very good time. Also on the Game Boy Advance, Super Ghouls and Ghosts. This is actually my favorite version of Ghouls and Ghosts. I did a full review of it because it's not just a remake of the Super Nintendo game. No, they actually have original levels in here and the ability to save your progress, which you're going to need to do because if you want to take those branching paths, you have to finish with at least the green or gold suit of armor, so you have to get good and get good fast. Or just get used to resetting your Game Boy Advance and then reloading your save state until you can play through every level without getting hit. Pinball of the Dead is another game that people bring up. You have 3 different tables to play on here, and each one has their own set of rules and objectives to complete. Even boss battles thrown in here. This is a darn cool game. It's a shame that it's stuck on such a tiny screen because I think the DS could have done this just a heck of a lot better. Casper is a game where you play as a ghost, and there's a spooky atmosphere house here with some other ghosts involved, but essentially this is just a boy and his blob, only you play as the blob, and you can switch back and forth between what actions you want Casper to take. Sometimes he's a plank that lets people walk all over him, as if Casper doesn't do that enough already, and other times you can turn into a fan that does things for reasons, or a really scary ghost to push zombies along really fast. This is interesting for anyone who's interested in it. It's just really not for me. And sadly, also not for me is Buffy the Vampire Slayer on the Game Boy Advance. This takes place during the 4th season, which means it's the worst season for Buffy ever. And this game kind of reflects upon that. I really wanted to like this one, as I am a huge Buffy fan, but it's just filled with really difficult jumps, and you have to use the right bumper to jump, so it doesn't make it easy on you at all. The stills they use are ripped right from the TV show, but they are very grainy. It might have a decent story, but I'm here more for the gameplay than the story. That's why my next scary game is Britney's Dance Beat, where you could watch Britney sort of dance. You could also play a block sliding puzzle, but the most scary thing about this game is the fact that they crunch down Britney Spears' music really badly onto a Game Boy Advance game, and it is ridiculously difficult to play this on a Game Boy Micro because all the gameplay is taking place on a little tiny spinning dial at the bottom. However, you do get to see Britney Spears dance if you're into that. But this might be the most scary game we talk about today. I wanted to give Dark Arena a chance, and when I got into it, it kind of reminds me of Wolfenstein 3D. You seem to have a shotgun here and a Gatling gun, and you run around what looks like a first-person shooter, but trust me, it doesn't play like any first-person shooter should. You think Doom 2 would be quite a bit better, but oh my god, it just seems like something is massively wrong with this. There is crippling slowdown almost all the time. Sure, all the snarls from the demons are here, and there's still a lot of blood and guts. Well, the blood is green, so I think sensors don't really care about blood as long as it's a different color. For me, that's a shame, and I honestly don't think that first-person shooters have any business being on the Game Boy Advance. I know just because you can do it doesn't mean you should do it. The Haunted Mansion is actually a technical marvel. The 3D engine they used in this game is being pushed to its absolute limits, and you can tell that because of the frame rate. Also, you have a really pretty girl that the camera nicely follows behind, and you could double jump, which is something that shouldn't be done in a more realistic sounding game. Also, the sound effects are top notch. The music perfectly sets the mood, and if there was a game to be really spooked out by, just the sound here alone can definitely do it. Gremlins Stripe vs. Gizmo. Ever since I was a kid, I wanted a great Gremlins game to play, and when I put in this one, I was stuck with a choice. I could either play as a cute little Mogwai, or I can play as a gremlin. If I got to play as Gizmo, the cute little Mogwai, well then I could run around and be very maneuverable, double jumping my way through things, and rolling around like a little tiny ball. However, I can't seem to ever control the stupid ball, so it's really hard to do, and you need to turn into that ball in order to attack the gremlins, and then you turn on a flashlight with the same button as the ball, so it gets really confusing really fast. No, you're better off playing as the gremlin here, which then you'll have to strike and punch and slash little Mogwais until they themselves turn into gremlins. Don't worry, they don't actually help you or anything. Either way is the exact same game, only it offers two different ways to play through it. And it's a pretty decent action platformer and that. I recommend you definitely give this one a try. Back to Stone is a isometric adventure, and normally I absolutely hate these, especially when they're puzzle platformers, because when you press right and you go like up, and you press down and you go left, it gets really confusing. I don't even know how I even started playing this, but when I did, I really started to enjoy it, especially because it starts off with a really creepy atmosphere. Your guy seems to be half demon and half human. When your life gets drained down, you turn into your demon form, which is freaking huge and looks like he could tear everything apart, and then when all of your energy is down, you are completely dead. So make sure you save often on this one if this really interests you. Don't let the isometric view stop you from playing a really good game. A more 2D experience is the Berenstain Bears Spooky Old Tree. This is a game I like to call Lost Vikings Light, because you could play as all three of the Berenstain Bears characters. Each one has their own unique thing that lets them platform and move and make it to the exit, and you have to get all three bears to the exit. It also sort of tells you exactly which bear you need at which spot, so you really don't have to think here at all. Of course, this game was meant for kids, so I completely understand. Dr. Muto is a 2D action adventure. Also, this time with a mad scientist protagonist. You could turn yourself into a mouse to go through little tiny doors, and you have a little, like, remote control thing that sort of breaks open boxes. This is off of the franchise MDK, which I believe the D stands for Dr. Muto in that. When normally it was a first-person shooter experience, they turn it into a 2D adventure. It's great, and it's definitely a very different game than its big brother counterpart on the Xbox, PlayStation 2, and the GameCube. You should probably pick them both up because they're both good games. A game that is similar to its PlayStation 2 counterpart, we have Kokot Platform Jumper. Hey, have you ever played Rainbow Island? Because this is that, but with a weirdly gremlin theme. You put, instead of rainbows down, some cinders down, and you can't jump on them or they will smash, but you can use them as platforms. You could also double jump, and every time you reach a checkpoint, a really good-looking gremlin appears on the screen. Yes, I said it's good-looking because honestly, I think that this looks better to me than that Britney's Dance Beat game. So, you know what? Take that for what it will. Scooby-Doo Mystery Mayhem. There are a lot of Scooby-Doo games out there. Usually they're either point-and-click adventures or action platformers, and either one can be hit or miss. But the weird part is, no one really agrees on which ones are the hits and which ones are the misses. And this one is also confusing to me. This is the action platformer type, which normally I love. You can play as Shaggy and Scooby and high-five each other and switch places, even though both of them feel like they play exactly the same. You could also creep around, try not to get seen by ghosts, jump behind pillars that happen to be in the background, and you try to solve mysteries. It's Scooby-Doo, so you should kind of know what you're expecting here, like a laugh track that plays in the background during certain spots, and the music and the rest of the sound effects are pretty much spot on. Give it a try if you can. Okay, time to jump into some movie-based games, which are known for being total garbage. Van Helsing the movie, I really didn't like that much, so when I started playing this, Well, I really wasn't that disappointed because I didn't set my hopes very high at all. It is a slightly below average game. You can pull out guns and shoot a whole bunch of demons. You do get in fights with some cool vampire chicks and level up as you play through the game, but overall it's very uninteresting. Instead of playing this one, you should have picked up The Nightmare Before Christmas. It's often explained as a Metroidvania game, but I really don't like that term very much. I think Metroid and Castlevania are actually two really separate games. The Castlevania style has more RPG elements. With the Metroid style, you actually have to earn your upgrades and then try to explore to find the next upgrade. And they generally are few and far between. So get ready to explore the crap out of this entire experience in what is probably the very best Halloween-themed Metroid game. Monster House was another game that surprised me. You play as 3 kids and you can switch back and forth of them on the fly. They all have squirt guns and each one of them squirt guns work a different way, but they're all very good at killing chairs. I never thought that water was really that effective on chairs and other ghosts and weird stuff that might be in this house, and when I started playing, I just was finding myself clearing rooms, picking up keys, and making it to other rooms. It really started to feel like Luigi's Mansion to me, because the layout is almost exactly like that game. So if you're really into Luigi's Mansion and you rather use a Super Soaker instead of the vacuum cleaner, and you want to play on the go, at least on your Game Boy Advance instead of your GameCube, well then this one is for you. And it's also better than the actual GameCube version of the game itself. So, top notch here. Okay, so I played a lot of games here today, and I always try to find the hidden gems that no one else is talking about. Nightmare Before Christmas was great, and so was Monster House, and I was not expecting my last game to be this good. Enter Ghost Rider. Oh my god, did this game ever win me over. Yes, it uses the same stupid jump button, the right trigger, as Buffy the Vampire Slayer did, and the combos are really fluid to pull off this time around. And you can unlock more as you play through the game. You have a punch button, and you can pull out your chain and sort of whip above you and crush giant boss battles with it. It is really cool, and the more you play it, the more abilities your Ghost Rider unlocks. And also, just to break up the monotony of the game, there are driving missions where your Ghost Rider jumps on your motorcycle and blasts through hell, slicing and dicing everything down the sides. This game didn't need to be nearly this good, but I am so happy it was, and I'm so happy I found it in the bargain bin for like $5, because it is not only worth every penny of it, I think it's just right up there with Castlevania for spooky factor and one of the coolest Game Boy Advance experiences that I could have around Halloween. But of course, that's just my opinion. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Of course, I've been working on this for a really long time, so please leave me a like, hit that subscribe button, and let me know in the comments down below what was your favorite spooky game. Did I do you wrong like Doom 2, or did I do you justice like Ghost Rider finally shining some light on this hidden gem? That's all for now, so until later, I will see you again, guys.